This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. St. James Police seized gun hidden in abandoned building. The St. James Police yesterday seized a Glock 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 4 9mm cartridges in Bogue Heights. The police say no one was arrested. The weapon and ammunition were seized during an operation on Comet Drive in Bogue Heights. According to the police, about 2:45 p.m., a team was conducting operations in the area when an abandoned building was searched and the weapon and ammunition were found in a multicolored sock covered under a zinc. Health Ministry ramps up cervical cancer awareness with Pap Smear Week. The Health Ministry has declared April 24 to 30 as a Pap Smear Week as part of efforts to raise awareness about cervical cancer, now the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths among Jamaican women. A Pap smear is a medical examination that helps to determine abnormalities of the cervix that could lead to cancer. The Health Ministry is hoping that every woman over the age of 20 years is inspired to do a Pap smear. Screening is about early detection, and early detection saves lives, says Ministry of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton. Screening for cervical cancer usually starts at age 21 and goes up to 64 years. Women at high risk for cervical cancer should have screening done every year. Women at average risk for cervical cancer should have screenings done every 3 years once each test is normal. Abnormal results warrant more frequent testing and further treatment. Director of the Non-Communicable Disease and Injury Prevention Unit at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Nicole Skyers, said this year's communication campaign is a call for action. We really would like our women to be driven, despite any fears, to go and have their Pap smears done, she said. The campaign will include promotions through social and mainstream media. $23 million approved for transformation of RADA. Cabinet has approved $23 million for consultancy services to transform the Rural Agricultural Development Authority into a more modern organization. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Dermot Spence, says the ministry intends to commence the process to engage the consultants this fiscal year. He says restructuring will see more specialists within the agency due to the diversification of crop production that is taking place in agriculture. Mr. Spence also says while new technology has been introduced, farmers has not been receiving related training. JCSA consults a technical team on compensation review proposals. The Jamaica Civil Service Association is assembling a technical team to examine the public sector compensation review proposal before having a follow-up meeting with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service in another 2 weeks. JCSA President O'Neill Grant told the news that the proposal was discussed at a meeting of the association's General Council last week, Thursday. He said it was decided that proper analysis of the document was needed in order to respond with authority to the proposals set out in the document. The same review is being carried out by other unions under the umbrella of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Union, which are doing a similar review, he said, so that all our members are equally represented at the table. The compensation review is aimed at streamlining the allowances and the pay scales within the public sector. There are already concerns following announcement that the motor vehicle duty concession benefit will end on June 30. Mr. Grant said he's hoping the government and unions can find a common ground, expressing that the union's concerns can be addressed fulsomely.
We will be putting together a technical team to go and do the analysis of the documentation that we have received from the Ministry of Finance. We're going to take about a week and a half, 2 weeks to do that. Once we have finished those, we'll give our feedback to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. We'll also be joined with our colleagues at the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, who are also doing the very same work that we are doing. And we'll share notes, of course, so that all our members are equally represented at the table. The expectations are that we We'll have a proper sit-down discussion around those concerns. If the concerns can be addressed fulsomely, then we do that. If it can't, then we'll have to sit down with the Ministry of Finance and go through whatever alternatives that we can come up with arising from the concerns that may be there that can't be readily addressed by the ministry. But we are open to dialogue, and the ministry has indicated that they too are now ready for dialogue, having made the initial announcements. And so we expect that the interest of both the government and the workers can be aligned around the interest of the general public, of course, in relation to compensation in the public sector.
Rising fertilizer price alarms the JAS president. President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, Lenworth Fulton, has again voiced the concern about the impact on farmers of the dramatic jump in the price of fertilizer. He told the news that farmers had complained up to last week that the price of the product had continued to rise, and we cannot see why. He speculated that the increase was due to a shortage of supply brought on in part by Russia's war against Ukraine, given the fact that a significant portion of Jamaica's fertilizer supply comes from around that side of the world. He is predicting, therefore, that consumers will be hit with higher prices due to the mounting cost facing farmers.
The prices have been going up to last week. Farmers complain that prices at some farm stores, and we cannot say why. Maybe it's just the markup for these individual stores. But in general, fertilizer has become very scarce, especially the nitrogen type, the nitrates, and all of those that have to be imported. And it's more than a year now that the urea have been going up, at some cases more than 100%. And with the war that is going on in Ukraine, it is going to be worse, because it's around that side of the world that we get most of our fertilizer. Prices for agricultural inputs are going up, not only for fertilizer, but for all the input. And that's a real concern. And part of the input we calculate as interest rate as well. Interest and their loans have been going up since the Bank of Jamaica have been increasing their prime interest rate. You find out that the cost of money is much higher for them. Other challenges is that the cost of irrigation and the unavailability of irrigation in many areas of Jamaica. And these areas are mostly the prime vegetable producing areas and the highland plateaus where you do not have rivers and so on.
Old Harbour gets a new fire station. Construction has now been completed on the Old Harbour Fire Station, one of 4 such facilities the government committed to undertake as part of a multi-million-dollar investment in the infrastructure of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development last year said it was making a $924.7 million investment in the infrastructure of the JFB with the construction of the new facilities. The other fire stations, which were slated to be handed over by the end of the 2022-2023 financial year, are being constructed in Montego Bay, St. James, Port Maria, St. Mary, and Dallas, St. Thomas under a World Bank project. The ministry said the Old Harbour Station was being built at a cost of $59.7 million. During the 2021-2022 sectorial debate, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie announced that the acquisition of new equipment for the JFB will enter a new technological dimension. The fire brigade will launch the Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Program, and this program will purchase 2 drones, he said then. The drones will assist with surveillance for search and rescue exercises, as well as fires and other emergency situations. This program, which is the first of its kind for the JFB, will help our firefighters to far better manage emergency situations, a welcome sign for residents of the fishing village of Old Harbour Bay, where fisher folk occasionally go missing while plying their trade. While construction of the Old Harbour Fire Station appears to be completed, it is yet to be equipped with trucks and other equipment and staffed with firefighters. Although the government has not said so, construction of the new fire station comes amid a growing population in and around the older fishing village, which has seen the build-out of at least 7 housing developments and with additional construction currently underway. It also comes in the wake of the construction of additional commercial spaces and bend-down marketplaces to meet the needs of the increasing population and the space requirements of medical and other professionals who are either relocating to the town or expanding their businesses. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.